Hello, everyone, and welcome into episode 10 of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. We're recording earlier in the week this week because I am going to Michigan this week. I'm excited for vacation. I'm going to be hanging with my girlfriend and her family, so it'll be a lot of fun. But how are you doing, Cameron?
Doing great, doing great. I actually got to golf today, so made the Monday blues not feel as blue. So it was a fun day, good start to the week, and doing good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I forgot to ask you before we started to record the podcast, but you answered my question. You did go golfing. How was it?
It was really fun. I played well. I went with a few buddies, so yeah, it's always fun getting out on the links. Good time.
Did he play 9 or 8? 18?
Played 18. Yep.
18. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
the
nice.
only problem was like some of the I don't even remember what they called it, but there were a few holes that they were repairing parts of the fairway so they would turn like a par four into a par three. So like it was a little weird, but it was still fun nonetheless. So it was a good night.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a great night this past weekend. Real quick before we into what we're covering. This past weekend wasn't the greatest for me. My car broke down on me. I was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, visiting a friend, so my car broke down on me. So luckily I was at my friend's apartment when that happened, so I'm gonna get it repaired and hopefully it'll be all fixed before I come back on Saturday because where we're going with Michigan is on the way back, like Michigan to Dayton. Fort Wayne is right there, so right in the middle. Oh yeah, thumbs up. But if
Uh
you're looking on YouTube, so luckily I'll be able to get my car on Saturday whenever we're coming back from Michigan to Dayton.
yeah,
And
I don't think I told you, but it's so ironic that you've had these car issues because last Saturday I had mentioned I was supposed to go to the Steelers training camp.
yeah,
I think I mentioned it
you
on the
did.
show one time. Um, Dude, like I can't even begin to explain like how chaotic that day was. We left at like 5 a.m. to be able to make it by the time it was starting. And we broke down right before Columbus, but we were getting close enough like so we were able to pull off and it was doing all kinds of like crazy things I'd never even seen a truck do. So we went to AutoZone, just tried to have them look at it. They're like, I have no idea what's going on. So then the only repair shop that was open like anywhere that was above like a 1-star rating was like all the way across Columbus. So we had to get towed. The tow truck driver was awesome, but got towed there. We were like, all right, hopefully it's something short. We can get it fixed, whatever, get up and going. Uh, so then we had to end up sitting there like 4 or 5 hours, have to miss the camp. And then we were like, all right, well, let's try to do something. We'll just try to
Yeah.
hopefully get this thing working. We'll just head home, go to the Reds game that night. Um, but then they come back and they're like, all right, you got to take this somewhere else. So that we have to take it to Nissan. So that same tow truck driver comes and gets us.
Uh-huh.
Uh, we're like multiple times broke down in a busy highway. Like it was like chaos all day. So then we ended up having to take it to Nissan and dropping it off there because my buddy drove a Nissan Titan and we
Uh-huh.
got a rental car, but that whole thing was chaos because neither of us had a credit card on us, and the main like six places would only take credit card, so we
Oh,
were struggling. It was
yeah.
we ended up getting to Cincinnati and we paid ahead of time for the tickets and everything, but we ended up getting in at like the sixth inning of that game. Luckily, they won. And there was like a Jimmy Buffett tribute band like playing
Uh-huh.
after. So we got something out of the day, but like
Yeah.
that day was just one for the ages. I'm still like shocked on how all of that happened in one day, but we made it. We made the most of it for
Hey,
sure.
made it to the game and then you all got back safely. That's the main thing.
Yep. Yeah. He had asked me when we got back in town. He was like, what would you have said if when I woke you up this morning, or when you woke up this morning, that we would be coming back at like midnight in a Kia Soul because that's the car that we had to rent." And
Yeah.
I was like, I would have no idea. I would not believe you. I
Yeah.
was like that just sounds insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, we did make the most of it though.
Yeah, luckily for me, with my car issue, it's like I said, I was visiting a college friend, but my girlfriend and I were doing long distance. So, like I said, Dayton, is where she lives. So, for her, it was only like a 2.5 hour drive to Fort Wayne, so it wasn't that bad. So she came and got me. She drove me to Dayton on Saturday. Then I got a rental car in Dayton on Sunday morning. So I'm going to drop my car off the rental car on Tuesday and then pick up my car on Saturday. Luckily, it's a little expensive to get it fixed. I won't say how much, but I gotta get a battery replaced and a belt also replaced in my car. So, you know,
Okay.
that. So I won't say how much, but pretty penny to say the least.
Yeah, yeah, not super cheap, I would imagine.
Yeah,
But
but all right, enough talking about that. We're actually, for the first time, our main coverage will be about football tonight, UK football. It's because they had, UK Fan Day this past weekend, and then, of course, UK Media Day, where the media had the time to talk to the players and coaches. And sadly, I wasn't a part of that because I was working, and then, like I said, I went to Fort Wayne to visit one of my friends, and I only saw him for a night, but getting back to the main point with football. So we're going to be talking about that, what Mark Stoops had to say to the media along with the fans, and of course Mitch Barnhart and some of the players like Shiyaji Pete. Everybody's going to love Pete, I believe. I think he's going to become a fan favorite for sure.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, hopefully we can both get out there next year for uh the media day. But yeah, Shiaz Pete is kind of the guy that's like stole the show as of now. Like he's just the absolute best. Like I remember, I guess it didn't pick up as much traction as I thought it did, but I remember that earlier, like a month or two ago with the Nick Roush interview, it
Hmm.
was like, man, this guy is just super interesting. That was like
Yeah.
the immediate takeaway. And now he's just the best. He's the absolute best. He's a huge human, great offensive lineman, and an awesome person. So, yeah, I think he's just gonna be the star of the team this year. And yeah, all of his interviews and it seemed like so many fans wanted to go up and see him this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just an absolute legend. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to have him.
Yeah, I would love to be up close to him. I mean, like the KSR crew, Drew Franklin and Matt Jones were just talking about how big he is. I think, what were they saying? 6'8", 350, something like that. Just
Yeah,
gigantic.
it was something like that. And then I remember like listening to the show while he was on there. I remember at one point Ryan Lemon just bursted out laughing just because of how big he is. Like he was just like, look at him sitting there. Like that's just a crazy size human. But
Yeah.
uh, I mean, he's gonna do very well for us this year. So I'm happy that he's that big and he's able to perform how he will this year.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the Nick Roush interview with him. I know there was a quote that stood out to me. I just pulled it up. It said, "They make it seem like we are a lost cause, but then I would argue lost causes are the only things worth fighting for." And like that quote stood out to me whenever he said that in Nick Roush's interview with KSR. I'm like, wow. I'm like, he can actually speak to the media. He's a cool guy, it feels like, and I would love to, meet him in person. Sadly, like I said, I wasn't around this past weekend, but, you know, maybe in the future, if I can get to a game this upcoming year, be a media member, I'll be able to talk to him. But I'm just excited to see what he can do along with the offensive line and, of course, the whole team. But what I'm most excited for this upcoming year is how improved this offensive line is because the past 3 years, it has been awful. 22, 23, and 24. It's been all awful. And we have Eric Walford back. He's back for his second season at UK. Of course, he was only here for one season back in 2021. Then he left to go to Alabama. And then, of course, Nick Saban retired. And then he came back to UK because he was needing a job.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And also, shameless plug. I did make one we were talking about before we got on TikTok edits. I made a TikTok edit out of that quote, like that interview.
Uh-huh.
Like it literally just gave me chills the first time I heard it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna turn this into an edit somehow. So
Oh.
that quote is just an all-timer. Like there's been other fan bases like hear about it, hate on it, all this stuff. Like but that quote, I don't see how you can't just love that. So there was that. He also talked about like Napoleon for a long time. I think he mentioned it on KSR too, but in that interview, he talked about how he's just like a huge history guy and he was just
Yeah.
reading up on all these guys. And um, I don't remember what the full context was, but when they brought up Mark Pope this weekend to
Yeah.
Shiash Pete, like he just said he seems like an amazing guy. I love basketball. It seems like or I've heard he's very good at chess, like all these different things. I'm just like, he's one of one. He's an
Yeah.
amazing dude.
Yeah, I feel like he and Joshua Braun could get along very well because I haven't talked to Joshua Braun in person before, but I've talked to him through DMs and through social media, and Joshua Braun just seems like a smart guy as well. He's a 6 year, I guess you could say super senior this upcoming year on the offensive line, but I feel like Pete and Braun would get along just fine, and of course I don't know if they are close friends or buddies, but they both seem very intelligent, very smart people, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, yeah, both are. interesting is the best way to put it, I think. Like in a good way too.
Yeah.
Like they're awesome and they're going to be amazing in the trenches for us this year.
And we're going to be talking about the offensive line right now. I mean, Mark Stoops said he believes that both the offensive and defensive line have both improved, so that's great. But like I said, focusing more on the offensive line, he believes that 8 players could start on the offensive line, and he didn't think that last year. He obviously said that they dealt with injuries last year, so they had to have the next man up mentality, and sadly that didn't happen last year, going 4-8. But basically, the main thing is he believes 8 players could start, and he's developing the ninth and 10th man for the roster. But he also believes that everything goes on in the trenches, like when it's third and goal or fourth and goal, third down and one. Like he believes this year could be a change compared to last year when where UK kept failing on the third and fourth down conversions every time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about is the trenches in general, defensive line and offensive line. But the one thing I remember hearing him say numerous times about the offensive line is like these dudes are absolute ballers. Like these guys all played a lot of football elsewhere, so they're coming in similar to how it was with like some of these recent transfers where we've gotten like one or two each year, but like
Yeah.
we've relied so much on guys that we've tried to like build up, or maybe they weren't as good, or we weren't so sure about them coming in. This line is just surefire. This is going to be an amazing
Mhm.
offensive line. And like you mentioned, the depth is super, super important. Like
Mhm.
I think a casual fan doesn't realize the rotation of
Mhm.
defensive linemen, especially, but offensive linemen that rotate in and out so much. Like
Yeah.
having really good players deep in that position is going to be the most
Mhm.
important thing for us this year. So I think, yeah, overall, the offensive line is going to be by far the most improved position, which is, I mean, last year it's not hard to make that quote because we had offensive line so bad that we made a quarterback retire early. So, yeah, that's going to be a huge, drastic change
Mhm.
on the offensive line this year.
Yeah, and speaking of the offensive line, like Shiaji's Pete had an all-time like new name for the Big Blue Wall. Instead of it being called the Big Blue Wall, it's called Beast of No Nation. Like that's just hard. Whenever you all heard that from KSR, whenever Pete said that, and I'm like, wow, like we need to get that on a shirt, like Matt Jones said. But I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's a great name. We should rename it from the Big Blue Wall to the Beast of No Nation for sure.
Yeah, at least for this year. At least this year,
At
because
least.
this group's special, and I think this is going to be the type of O line and stuff that needs a certain name. I think this team is kind of similar to how we talked about last year's team, where they with Kentucky basketball, where they were like the foundation. They re brought back Kentucky basketball. This is good. This I feel like this is gonna be the group that brings back Kentucky offensive line. Like that's been our
Yeah.
thing. That's been our anchor for so many years, and we've lost touch of that. Like you mentioned, the last 3 years has not been good.
Hmm.
And I feel like this is gonna be the year that we regain dominance in the trenches.
Yeah, and of course we all miss John Schlarman. He was the leader of the Big Blue Wall. RIP to him. But man, whenever he was the offensive line coach at UK, like they had such a great offensive line. I mean, you can't forget about it whenever Lynn Bowden took over as quarterback and he just ran all over the field and would rarely ever pass unless he threw the game-winning touchdown, of course, against Virginia Tech was which was insane. I remember watching that game. Great times, but it's just crazy how dominant the Big Blue Wall was back in the day, and no team could stop it because of how great our run game was as well.
Yeah, the mix of the big blue wall and the elite running back run that we had was second to none. That was kind of like what everybody knew Kentucky as. It was like, all right, well, they're going to slow it down, and nobody's going to be getting to slowing down that running game. Like
Mhm.
nobody was doing it. I mean, Georgia would, but that's a little different. But
Yeah.
uh, man, yeah, the big blue wall was elite for
Mhm.
years and years, and I'm excited to see the O line get back to it because we've
Yeah.
been in a little bit of a drought.
Yeah, and then you can't forget all about the previous running backs we've had, like Stanley Boone Williams. Who else did we have? AJ Rose, Chris Rodriguez, JoJo Kent. Like we had so many dominant running backs.
Benny Snell.
Huh?
You didn't say Benny Snell.
Oh yeah, Benny Snell. Hey, today is 26 days until Kentucky football. Of
Oh
course,
yeah.
this podcast won't get uploaded tonight, but 26 days if you're, watching it from a Monday's perspective. So happy Benny Snow Day, I guess you could say.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Or who was 26? Was Ramon Jefferson wearing 26 like last year or something? It
I
was
think he was, and then of course this year and last year you also have Jason Patterson, who's the redshirt freshman from Florida.
yeah, that's right. That's right. That kid's gonna be special.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Like, could you imagine the future being Jamarian Wilcox and Patterson as well?
Man, that could be an insane 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah, it definitely could. And then speaking about the running back room, just talking about that as we speak, he believes that this running back group, Mark Stoops believes it is very special this upcoming year. He also believes that McGowan will be a potential NFL talent, and it's crazy because UK got him in the spring transfer portal window, and instead of Jamarian Wilcox hitting the road like he could have. He could have been like, "Oh, I'm not going to be playing because we got Dante Dow plus Seth McGowan. I'm probably going to be running back three. Might as well transfer out here and find a new school and be running back one or running back two."
Yeah, like you said, that trio right there, like Jamarion Wilcox, as long as he's tying his shoes, he's gonna be special when he comes in. But Seth McGowan, like it is bold to like call your shot on a New Mexico State transfer being an NFL player, but he's done it with other transfers in the running back field. But like just how versatile he is, I could definitely see it. Like what he's
Yeah.
going to be able to do out the backfield. And like you said, we got him in the spring, so a lot of folks don't really know him yet, but people are going to know him very, very soon. But Dante Dowdell, he's kind of gotten pretty known, I feel like, amongst the fan base because of
Yeah.
the college football game, because he's just like broken in it.
It's
But
crazy.
he is going to be really good. Like in real life, I know the game makes him seem like he's just winning Heisman this year, but like he's going to be elite in real life, and it's going to be awesome to see because he had some of the best numbers in the country when it came to like third down, like
Hmm.
keeping it inside the tackle type runs. Like when he was like short down back, short yardage, like he was one of the best in the country last year. So
Hmm.
bringing him kind of that like old school run it through somebody's face, like we're
Yeah.
getting back to that where we had it for C Rod and Benny Snell for it felt like 20 years.
20 years.
We get that back and it's gonna be awesome because we'll have a mix of all that with all these different running backs that bring so much to the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, and speaking, I mean, so many fans were upset that UK, all they did was run the ball back in the day, and they were like, we need a passing game. We bring the passing game, and UK hasn't been the greatest since they've added, like 20 passes a game at all.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I completely get like it is not if you're trying to watch from like a like casual fan perspective, it's probably not the most fun to watch the run, but it worked like
Yeah,
for
it
sure, and you
worked.
can't deny it. We were winning a ridiculous amount of football games, and we were in a lot more. Um, and the passing worked for a little bit, like Will had a great first year here, and we had some great targets that just never
Mhm.
necessarily panned out. So I'm excited to get back to being able to run the ball, but I don't know if you have this kind of on your checklist, but like we need to talk about the receivers
Yeah,
because
I have
I'm
that.
excited about this receiver group. I am very excited about them as well. Just
Mhm.
this team is completely flipped. What is it,
Yeah,
50 new players, whether
50
it's,
new players, like 20, 30 from the transfer portal, then like another 20 from high school. It's crazy.
yeah, I am excited about
Yeah.
just what these skill positions are going to be able to do this year.
Me too, and I'm excited to see what Jamori Macklin can actually do this upcoming year. I believe he's going to get a lot of playing time compared to last year, where he really didn't get any playing time until the end of the year. Like the first game that he really showed out was against Tennessee, and that was basically towards the end of the year, like the ninth game. And basically, we started to play him a lot more. I'm like, why didn't we use him? And then at the time after the season, he was going to transfer, but then. Of course, he didn't, and I know that for sure he was going to transfer. I've heard from him personally that he was going to, but then he decided to come back. I'm not for sure why he came back. I didn't talk to him about that. He was like, "Hey, I'm just coming back and wanted to let you know." I'm like, "Bet." So I'm glad we got Macklin back because I believe that him and Kendrick Law could really lead this team this year in receiving yards. In my opinion, if you don't know who Kendrick Law is, he's the Alabama transfer. Uh, and he wasn't a great wide receiver at Alabama, but if you can get a player from Alabama to come to Kentucky, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, the yeah, Jamori. like you said, the Tennessee game was kind of his breakout, and it was like this is what we've been waiting on. Like when he was at North Texas,
Mhm.
he put up crazy numbers. Really, really good player there. So we were kind of like sitting there waiting, and it felt like almost we were force feeding Dane and Barry on at times where it was like,
Yeah,
well, we're supposed to give it to them. Like,
yeah.
but when the
They're
offense
really.
opened up, yeah, exactly. But when Jamori got a ton, like as soon as he announced he was coming back, I was like, this guy is going to be so special. So yeah, like you said, I'm excited for him. Um, and then Kendrick Law, you mentioned that he's the definition of gadget. Like I feel like he's just going to be in the backfield someplace. He's going to get a ton of jet sweeps. He's going to get a ton of. We're going to run trick plays with him. He's going to do everything. I know Bush Hamden's going to have a lot of fun with him. And then the big standouts that I did hear from people that were there at the fan day and everything that Hardly Gilmore just looks like an absolute dude out there.
Yeah,
Like
I was
everybody was
about
saying
to
he
bring
looks
him up.
amazing. And then lastly, Troy Stellato, everybody said that he's just extremely consistent and
Mhm.
like a great route runner. And he's just going to be somebody that Kentucky fans fall in love with this year because he's going to be there when we need him. It's going to be short downs and it's going to be right in between where we could run it here, pass it here.
Mhm.
And no matter what he's running, he'll be wide open. Like I know a lot of people said, uh, there were so many slants Calzada connected with him on like short third down plays and stuff. So I
Mhm.
am excited about those four mainly, but like
Yeah.
even outside of them, this group is special out of this receiver room.
Hey, you can't forget the in-state talent that we have, though, Fred Ferrier.
Yes. Well, and yeah, Fred Ferrier
And
ended
then,
going too,
yeah,
but
you also got the Montaven Quincy.
Quisenberry.
Yeah,
Yeah, Montavon Quisberry. I was about to bring him up because they said that he was making plays. I don't remember the exact words of Stoops, but it was like he just continued to say like he is very, very, very talented and like every single rep he can see him get better.
yeah.
And it's just been awesome to see.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that UK didn't try to target him more in his commitment at first before he committed to UK because at first he was committed to West Virginia and then of course he flipped to UK. And like I said, the first go around before he committed to West Virginia, I was surprised that UK didn't try to go after him more, but they finally decided to, got him to flip from West Virginia to come to Kentucky. So I'm excited about Quisenberry. You know who I could see him be in the next couple years? The players comp?
All right, I'm gonna try to guess. Well, he's smaller.
Yeah.
Wandell.
Yes, Wandale Robinson.
Wandell.
If everything can fit for him, I believe he could be the next Wandale Robinson, and that's going to be really high praise. Now, I'm not saying he'll be Wandale Robinson this year, but come his redshirt junior season, I could see him doing that for sure.
Yeah, especially if he's this good already. Like he's
Yeah.
just clicking right off rip.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been some really good players go from Boyle County to UK. So I'm excited to see him be the next one.
Yeah, I'm also excited for Harley Gilmore. Like you said, I was happy that he came back to UK. I hope he can stay out of trouble because, of course, he sadly got kicked out of Nebraska. Well, maybe sad for Nebraska, but great for us since he came back. But like I said, he probably didn't want to transfer at first to go from UK to Nebraska, but he did, of course, on the last day of the transfer portal, ended up going to Nebraska, and then he got kicked off, and now he's back at UK. I'm just hoping he can stay out of trouble and have his head on straight because I believe he could be an elite talent and eventually be a great NFL wide receiver eventually.
Yeah, I think so too. He is one of those guys that like uh I don't remember. I guess was probably Adam Luckett talking about him where he was like even when he was here the first time you could tell he was just super super special. But now this time around there's got to be a lot more maturity off the field and like and all these things like you said just hopefully stay out of trouble because he's got the raw talent and it's just like if you can pull that out of him it's going to be
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
The one thing I do worry about Troy Stellato is he's already been banged up, injured since being at UK, so I'm just nervous about his health because he's a little scrawnier than, most wide receivers who are a little bit heftier, not too big, but you get my point. So I'm just nervous about his health because, this is the SEC, this is a grown man league, or as Vince Merrill would say, grown with GROAN.
Yeah, yeah,
But
grown man.
I'm just hoping Stellato can stay healthy. That's like the main thing for him, along with everybody else. But like I said, just everybody needs to stay healthy, and if that's the case, I'm not setting the expectations too high. We can talk about this in a later podcast. But if you were to tell me today, I would probably go with like 5 wins for Kentucky football this upcoming year.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, we'll talk about this in the future. We'll put out a like our actual prediction and stuff. So that'll be fun to do that on one episode coming up. But yeah, Stellato, he is injury prone. Got to keep him healthy. But I think that's my guy this year. I don't know. There's just something about him where I remember seeing him at Clemson at least a little bit. But
Mhm.
yeah, when he committed, it was like, oh, well, all right, we got. Which we didn't even mention like J.J. Hester, who's going to be super
Yeah,
special for us too. But and then Kendrick Law, he was out Saturday, so Saturday the fans didn't get to see him.
hmm
Um, but his isn't like where we're saying Stellato, we're worried about him being banged up. Kendrick Laws was like something very minor, and I think he's supposed
yeah.
to be back today already. So
Yeah,
wasn't
I
anything
saw
crazy.
that too. But yeah, JJ Hester from I believe it was Oklahoma, right? He came from.
Yep.
So yeah, JJ Hester is going to be nice. Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited about this wide receiver core as long as they can stay healthy and whoever the quarterback is, it could be Zach Calzada. I believe Zach Calzada will be the starting quarterback to start out, but I believe he's going to have a really short leash, and if he can't, be great, I believe Cutter Boley could replace him, before the end of the year. And that would be crazy to think about a redshirt freshman replacing a 6 year senior.
Yeah, I did hear KSR's Adam Luckett talk about this too, where he was like, um, the best 2 minute drill he'd ever seen somebody do, like that they had ran at Kentucky since he had been covering it, was Will Levis's first year. And he said Cutter Boley probably ran the second best one, and it was with the second team. So
Yeah.
there was like extremely high praise. They said you could tell he's a sophomore, and they meant that in a really good way, where he had just grown in so many ways from his freshman year on. But the way they talked about Zach Calzada, like you said, I also think he can be the starter right away, but with a short leash, like you mentioned. So
Yeah.
they did mention that Calzada, what did somebody was calling him something on Twitter? Check down Charlie. They were like, he's going to be a check down Charlie, but he can see the game so well.
Yeah.
He's going to be very quick and take what's there instead of just being all or nothing all the time. So
Yeah.
he was like, I think it was Nick Roush was the one saying at one point too that he was like, Kentucky fans are going to fall in love with him because he's not going to do anything just extremely stupid. Like
Yeah.
he's going to be a very consistent quarterback, do the right things, and just keep us ahead of the change the whole time. So, but like you said, short leash, Cutter is right there,
hmm
and this kid's going to be special one day. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he ends up making it the whole year as a starter, and then
hmm
every year the backup starts at least once. We've had injuries
Yeah.
like through the roof, so
Through the
Cutter
roof.
will at least start a game at least. So,
hmm
yeah, I'm excited for them just to see that we'll duo right there and see them
Yeah.
challenge each other.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, but I mean, even Ryan Lemon said on, I believe it might have been today on KSR, but he said from somebody that knows football said to him that Cutter Boley will be the starter by the end of the year, which would be insane to think about. But if UK is struggling, might as well go with the redshirt freshman, and if Cutter Boley does well, then I believe he'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I would like to see it honestly. I mean, at some point, or at least get him in packages and let him run a little bit, just because it is going to be his team next year.
Mhm.
And then maybe Ponatoski's is backup right off rip, or maybe there's another transfer backup or something. But it is going to be Cutter's team next year, so building for the future. It would suck for Zach Calzada, but that's what he signed up for. He's not here to like he said numerous times in interviews. He's here for a business trip. He's here to play football and win a lot
Mhm.
of games. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, Cutter's going to challenge him, be right there behind him the whole time. But I'm excited about Calzada too.
Hey, we need that A&M magic that he had, upsetting Alabama insane.
Yeah, and he gets to go against Auburn this year, his former
Yeah,
former
his
team as
other
well, where he
former
ended up
team.
getting injured. So, yeah, and that's also with Shiosh Pete when Diego Pavia led the New Mexico State Aggies down to Auburn 2 years ago when they beat them on the Plains. So, we get to go to Jordan Hare this year and have a chance to upset them because there's a couple of guys that know how to win some SEC games.
Yeah, I think one interesting matchup will be this upcoming year will be UK versus Vandy. Of course, Vandy has defeated UK the past 2 years, not the past 2 years, but the past two times they have came to Kroger Field. Of course, it'll be in Nashville at Vanderbilt Stadium, but to see Pete versus Diego Pavia play against each other, that would be a cool
Yeah,
matchup.
that will be
Of
super cool.
course.
I wish we could get what was it? Maxwell Hairston had like two pick sixes in that game two
Yeah,
years
two
ago.
pick sixes 2 years ago.
Man, he was special. Yeah, if we could have another, I mean, the way that Stoops talks about the secondary right now, we may have another Mad Max out there. I don't really know, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, the way that Stoops talks about this secondary is very very good. So we may have some performance like that again.
Yeah, and I am very excited to see what happens. And I'm glad also if y'all haven't been keeping up with Maxwell Harrison, I'm glad he it's okay. He had a knee injury and luckily it wasn't a torn ACL and this man is driving me nuts,
I
everybody.
just saw it fly by. I was like,
I know. I'm trying to grab it, but yeah, luckily Maxwell Harrison is okay. He had a non-contact knee injury, but luckily it's not a torn ACL or MCL, so he'll be back before the season begins. So that's great for him, and I'm excited to see what Harrison can do along with all the other former players. I mean, Deion Walker is also with the Bills as well with Harrison, so that'll be exciting.
yeah, that'll be fun. I did see. Hairston had what was he top 10 rookie speed rating, or maybe it was top 10 overall in the game
Mhm.
of the new Madden. I just saw them posted the other day, the fastest players in the game. Maxwell made it
Wow.
on that list. So yeah, he's going to be awesome. I'm excited for his NFL career.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do, and as long as he can stay healthy and fit the scheme that the Bills are running, I believe he'll be perfectly fine, and we'll have a long-lasting NFL career, hopefully like 10 plus years.
Yeah, hopefully so. We need another guy. We've had a lot of guys floating around for a while. I think I saw. I think it was Lonnie Johnson just got hurt like yesterday. He's on the Raiders now. I didn't even realize he was still floating around the league. But we've had some guys, but I'd like to see one of our DBs other than Mike Edwards go out
Yeah,
there and just dominate
I was going to
as a
say Mike
defensive player.
Evans. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but like I said, hopefully UK can continue to get players drafted into the NFL. I think another big thing that we need to talk about is the leadership is much improved compared to last year. Mark Stoops was saying at one point that two players have been late for practice. They were both freshmen, 2 different points, and he wasn't just saying that basically like the whole team got onto them for being late for practice. And I'm like, we need that leadership because last year we didn't have that. Players were showing up late to practice. I saw one story that Adam Luck had posted on the KSR message board, but he said a player stole Mark Stoops' parking spot. That got me laughing so hard.
That's funny. That is hilarious. But yeah, the leadership that you mentioned, there was a lot of people that wrote about that, talked about that from just going to practice and out of the one day of seeing it. They said the discipline and leadership is just like it just shines. Like you can just tell it's so much different from last year. So I am excited about that. We don't need guys stealing Stoops' parking lot or parking spot or anything, but it is cool that like all the guys were getting on them and the freshmen are understanding right away that this it's a place that means business though.
Yeah, and like I said, having a lot of players who are like fifth or 6 year seniors really help out a lot too. So hopefully, with all this new leadership, UK will be fine this upcoming year. And like I said, I don't have too high of hopes. I just hope we can get to 6 wins. Like I said, 5 wins earlier, but some of the leadership players that Mark Stoops he said this past week he was saying Alex Safari, he's been a great leader along with Jordan Lovett, David Gusta, the transfer, and then of course you can't forget the GOAT Jagger Berton.
Yeah. Yeah, Jagger's elite. I'm excited for him. But David Gusta, did you get to watch his interview that he did with
I
KSR?
I didn't really get to watch it. Like I said, I was so busy, but I did watch a little bit of David Gusta. I remember him saying that he was so scared of cicadas and then also alligators or whatever. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, he's like the Shiosh Pete of the defense because he is an absolute character. Like he was talking about, like you mentioned the alligators. He was like, I went down to Georgia, I saw an alligator in the water. I haven't swum in water up here since. And they were like, yeah, I think you're fine from alligators up here. He's like, I don't trust it. I'm not doing it. Like he was like just a fun guy. And he said,
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact quote. He said it was like I'm a nerd that just happens to be athletic. I think that's how he called himself. Like he was just like I'm not just a super sporty jock guy. Like I'm a nerd that's athletic. So he was awesome to hear talk.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's like the Shiosh Pete of the defense. They're just fun personalities both ways.
Yeah, and like I said, as long as we can keep the fun personality going into games and we're getting wins, that's the main thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Got to win some games, but we are old, like you said. we have a little unction going on this year. It's going like a lot of old dudes. So, um, but
Does it,
hopefully we can win some games.
does it pay to be old?
Hey, we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
And then I was actually talking to Dave Augusta the other day, and I'm going to make a post soon, but I was asking just different athletes from football to men's basketball, women's basketball, and all of that. I asked them what their dream NIL club would be, and Dave Augusta said Crunchyroll, and he said it's an anime streaming service, so I found that interesting.
Yeah, that fits. He was an awesome interview that I saw on KSR. So that fits perfectly.
Yeah, I'm excited though. Like I said, hopefully the offensive and defensive side goes well. And then during the KSR interview with Matt Jones and Mark Stoops and everything, they were asking him about the motivated stuff and why he doesn't go along with it. And Mark Stoops was like, "I'm always motivated. Every year I'm motivated. Like just because I'm saying that now doesn't mean I'm not motivated in years past."
Yeah, you could tell he was still a little ticked when they were talking about it again, even when, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, Nick Roush brought it up at SEC Media Days, and
Yeah,
they brought it up, and he was still a little ticked. He wasn't as mad. Like you could tell he was a little more cool about it, but yeah, grateful, motivated, all the words, man. He's fired up, ready to go. So,
yeah,
and he's so good at like just talking in
yeah,
general. Like I could listen to him and he could talk me into winning like 8 or 9 games like right away.
yeah.
And I'm just like, dude. And then I sit back, reality sets in, and I'm like, all right, we play a ridiculous schedule, all this stuff. But he's such a good speaker, though. He can get you ready to run through a wall in 5 seconds.
Yeah, gotta be motivated now. And he's also healthier as well because he had that ankle surgery this offseason. So maybe healthier Mark Stoops equals a healthier program as well.
Yeah, yeah, maybe so. He also took, and not a shot, but when they brought up the Louisville game, he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna try to smack him in the mouth." Like he just like he didn't give the political answer on that. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's good." Like
we're going
the
for the
the
throat.
yeah, going for the throw. Like yeah, he was ready to roll. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
Yeah, he did say though it's water under the bridge with Vince Merrill, so I'm glad they're getting along. And he's like, it's hard for anybody to leave after 12 years. Like, you don't know what to say since you've been around a program or a person for 12 years straight.
Yeah, I'm sure once they're both retired, they'll still meet up for Jeff Ruby's and all that. So I think they'll be fine once it's all said and done. But right now, still a little tough, especially for me being around Louisville. Like
Uh-huh.
just Louisville fans are just the worst. So it's like, man, like
Yeah.
he went to them. Like it's just
Yeah.
but
I still
uh,
think the worst fan base I've been around is probably Tennessee, I would say. Just
100%. Yeah. Yeah, that
um,
I've experienced. It's just like for me, it's just like living around Louisville. I just
uh,
see it every single day. But definitely Tennessee is the worst because I've experienced that in person twice, but they're also the most like two-faced people because I went to a game with a friend of mine that's a Tennessee fan. I wore a black shirt. It was the Tennessee Ole Miss game in 2021 where they threw the mustard bottles, all that. I went to
that
that
game is
and
crazy.
they were the nicest people in the world. But those same people, if I was wearing a Kentucky shirt, they would have just said the meanest things in the world. So
Yeah.
I just know they are so two-faced. They are the
Yeah.
worst fan base by far.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I would say definitely Tennessee and then probably like Louisville number two.
Yeah, Louisville number two. And then I've only experienced, I feel like I hated Duke a lot more growing up. I think once K retired, it kind of simmered a little bit, but I did experience Coach K's final year. We went to Kentucky Duke in New York, me and some buddies, and those Duke fans were the absolute worst humans. They were just, oh man. So they are definitely top three, but
Top
they might
three.
be three just because it's only one experience. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the big three though, for
Yeah,
sure.
I haven't really experienced any bad Duke fans. Of course, I don't like Duke as a university because of Christian Laettner, Coach K. Of course, the Duke hate has died down a little bit since Coach K retired, but I haven't really had any bad encounters with Duke fans, luckily yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah. The one shocking thing that got me in New York, we which I mean like there's obviously one bad apple can't spoil the whole fan base, but I had met amazing Kansas fans my whole life, and we talked to one in New York, and it was one of the worst dudes I've ever met in my life. He was awful. I like oh man, like me and my friend group, like we still talk about this guy, and he was basically just a rich guy that wanted to throw it in your face that he was rich, and then would talk about Kansas like they were miles ahead of Kentucky all time. And
Uh-huh.
like it was just the whole thing was just he was the worst. But like I said, he's the only bad Kansas fan I've ever met. Every other one has been awesome.
Mhm.
Um, but Arkansas is sneaking their way up a little
Yeah.
bit
Even before
in
John
basketball. But
Calipari.
yes, definitely before Cal, which is funny because I could still find receipts of just Arkansas fans like chirping at me,
Mhm.
making fun of Cal's record against them or whatever. And then those are the same guys cleaning Cal's shoes right now. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I would say it probably started in the 2019-2020 season when Calipari got ejected. Like this was right before COVID. I just feel like that's when Arkansas fans started to just be crazy and like misbehave at games. And like I said, go on, like cheer for your team, like cheer John Calipari getting ejected whenever he was at UK. Hey, we came back and won that game though.
yeah, I think it was the Muscleman energy just getting to the fan base. 'Cause those years that Muss was there, man, they were the worst, man.
Yeah, and then of course he went to USC, and then of course that's how we got Mark Pope to UK.
Yeah, why can't I think of his name?
Andy Einfield.
Or Andy Enfield. Yeah.
Yeah,
He went to SMU, and it's crazy. SMU starts an entire domino effect of just
yeah,
like the wildest coaching carousel of all
yeah.
time.
It is definitely crazy, but to get back to talking about football now again, but it was great talking about basketball for a little
Yeah,
bit. And
somehow we got on to top talking about SMU basketball, but
yeah.
let's
Hey,
get back on
speaking of
track.
SMU basketball, we could talk about their SMU football head coach and Mark Stoops had to clap back at that SMU.
Yeah, strap it on and come play. Like that
Yeah.
was a great quote from Stoops.
Strap it on and come play.
Yeah.
I could not believe that Mark Stoops actually said that. He fired back.
Yeah, the funny thing is like Rhett Lashley, like he says all these things about the SEC, but if Vanderbilt offered him tomorrow, he would go. Like he's so like two-faced. I love Lashley, but he would 100% leave for an SEC job immediately, and he wants to talk crap about him now. It's just like, bro, just stay in your place, man. Just you
Yeah.
don't need to do all this.
Yeah. And then one other thing talking about Mark Stoops, and then maybe we can talk about Mitch Barnhart and maybe the quarterback play as well. But he also talked about how he feels UK football is in a better position than they have been in years past with NIL, all because of the house settlement. And like I didn't know until we talked to Zach Gagan, but last week whenever we talked to him that 2.6 million of the 20.6 million will go to scholarships for UK sports athletes, and I didn't know that, but after $18 million you have left, I would still say at least 10, 11, 12 million will go to at least to the football program at least.
Yeah, I would guess about 12, 13, maybe.
Yeah, 12 or 13 probably more like it.
Yeah, just because that's what they'll need and that's what they deserve after what they'll bring in revenue wise. But yeah, that was interesting. I didn't realize that until Gagan was on either. So yeah, Gagan, that was an awesome interview. I hope everybody enjoyed that as much as we did because that was fun. Zach's
Yeah.
awesome.
Our second most watched podcast hours wise, which is insane to think about. Like you would have thought Khalil Whitney would be number one.
Yeah, Ainsley Almanor and Zach Gagan. That's the two right there.
Yeah, that's the two. And then I don't know what's number three. It might be Khalil Whitney. It might have been the Jalen Lowe, Reese Potter.
Might be the Vince one.
I
Is
don't
that
think.
one up there?
I think that's probably number four. I think the Jalen Lowe, Reese Potter talking to the media is number three, and then Vince Merrill's number four. And think about it, it's episode 10, so crazy that we've been filming for 10 episodes now. But
I know.
but yeah, and then another thing I want to talk about the renovations at Kroger Field. I just find it insane that it's going to take 5 years to get Wi-Fi into Kroger Field. Like, why? Like, we had Wi-Fi back in like 2016 because I remember going to a game and there was Wi-Fi at Kroger Field and then it went bye-bye. Like, it disappeared a year later. I'm like, what the heck happened to Kroger Field and the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi, it's insane. Like I remember the last time I was there was the Tyler Childers concert, and I remember a friend calling, and it wouldn't even like you wouldn't even have a chance to talk to him. Like it was the Wi-Fi and just connection in there is terrible. But then it being 5 years is just like it should already be a thing, and it should have never left, like you said. But yeah, the 5 years thing is just wild to me. Like it's gonna take that long. We have to go through what been through these last few years, where you basically don't have a phone
Yeah.
in the stadium. So, Yeah, I don't understand the 5 years thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I was at a game in 2016. Of course, I've gone to games afterwards, but I remember in high school, I went to a game and there was Wi-Fi at Kroger Field, so it just makes no sense. And in 5 years, you could build a new football stadium probably as well.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, 5 years. There's so much time to do. I just don't understand
Yeah.
why it could take that long. But
Yeah,
I
you
don't
would
know.
think you would be able to install it during like an off season, like 2 or 3 months while the game isn't going on, or however long an off season is. Well, it ends, let's say in December, so it starts up back in August, like 8 months, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you would think so, but
Yeah, but definitely not
I
the
don't know.
case. But and then Mark Stoops, this upcoming year, he believes it's a redemption season. He wants the team to embrace the journey, so I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to see what UK can do this upcoming year, and maybe we can talk a little bit about the quarterbacks before we start to talk about Mitch Barnhart. But I know we previously mentioned that it could be a short leash for Calzada, and I'll be interested to see because in my EA College Football Dynasty, I tried out Calzada. He wasn't the best. Put in Boley. I felt like he was worse than Calzada in the video game, sadly. So I brought back in Calzada, and right now I haven't played a lot of EA college football, but I think we're like 5-0 right now.
All right, there we go. I did see KSR like simmed our season. I haven't watched that, but I saw that on their YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, the quarterback room is not one to desire from most of the outsiders looking in, but Calzada, he's just a ball player, gamer. I'm
Yeah.
just excited about him in Kentucky Blue. He's back, and he just seems like he's taking it so serious. Like
Hmm.
it is a business trip, and he's just trying to get as much done as he can in
Yeah.
his 1 year here. And he wanted to get back to the SEC so bad.
Hmm.
As a Georgia boy, he just bleeds football. So
Yeah.
I am excited about him. But Cutter Boley is right there, like we said, short leash, like just right behind him the whole time.
Yeah. I want to know the NIL bags for the both of them. I want to know how much they're making. They're both easily making well over 6 figures, so it's insane.
Yeah, I do wonder what they're making because I would imagine Cutter could be making more. It
Because
wouldn't shock me if Cutter's making more than him.
homegrown talent, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the homegrown thing, and then it's also a 4 star that you want to keep on your roster. Like you're trying to keep him here. Calzada, he wants an opportunity. He'll probably take a little bit less to come in play in the SEC. So I would imagine Cutter's probably making a little bit more than him.
Yeah. I mean, we came close to getting Malik Murphy over Calzada.
Yeah, that was a wild time when it was like everything seemed like it was pointing to Malik Murphy being a Wildcat, and
Yeah.
now he's at Oregon State. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Crazy.
how all that went down, but I'm sure they paid a decent little penny.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. And like I said, just I would have much rather had Murphy over Calzada. I mean, last year UK was interested in Murphy as well, but at that time I was like, I'm not a Murphy fan. I don't want him, and I really didn't want Brock Vandegrift last year at all. Like I was saying, there are other better quarterback options, and of course we got Vandegrift, and the season didn't go nearly as great as it should have. 4-8, of course, but. I'll be interested to see what Calzada or Bowley can do this upcoming year.
Yeah, yeah, I am excited about them, but yeah, I mean, I liked Malik Murphy. It was just so funny, like because people that just didn't know him. I remember people tweeting like pictures of Terry Wilson, and it was like Malik Murphy next year, and it was like that's just not even remotely close to how Malik Murphy plays. Like
Yeah.
that's far from it. But
Yeah.
Malik Murphy, I think, would have been good here. But the thing that gives me so much confidence in Zach Calzada is like we did have a shot at getting Malik Murphy,
Hmm.
and if Bush Hamden really wanted him, I think we would have gone all in on him and just
Yeah.
paid whatever we needed. But he handpicked Calzada
Hmm.
and likes Calzada for what he wants to do. So that gives me the utmost confidence in
Yeah.
what Bush Hamden wants to do.
Yeah, and then speaking of the tight end room, I think that could be really impressive this year. Of course, Vince Merrill's no longer here. We've got a new tight ends coach, but I'm excited to see what will happen. Of course, Josh Caddis is one of the oldest players in that room, but I'm excited to see I don't know if he's a redshirt freshman or a true sophomore, but I'm excited to see what Willie Rodriguez can do this upcoming year. I mean, he showed out last year whenever he got the opportunity to play, and like the very first play, even though it wasn't actually a fumble, but he almost caused a fumble. The player was down against Ole Miss, but that big hit caused the ball to come loose. It was insane. UK, of course, recovered it, but of course the player was down. But I remember that big hit from Willie Rodriguez, and I'm expecting big things this upcoming year from him as well, along with the tight end room, Henry Boyer as well. Can't forget about him.
Yeah, that hit for Rodriguez will forever be in my head. Just because like seeing a dude like that was a 4-star tight end coming in, like you can be, really negative about your situation where you're just on special teams, but he's making the most of it. He's just going out there and laying dudes out because he loves football that much.
Mhm.
So yeah, with him and then Caddis is going to be special. I
Yeah,
am excited about Josh Caddis this year. Like that duo is the one like I'm really particular about, which like those two are going to be amazing. But I love the like balance that we have because of all those guys returning. Henry Boyer's coming in, but like there's those two returning with all the transfers in the running back room with a couple returners and then a main returner and a lot of like receiver transfers. Like there's a good balance across
yeah,
the entire offense. Like there's gonna be a lot of transfers, but there's enough to where there's a lot of continuity still. So I'm
yeah.
excited about that. And the big part of the continuity is the receiver or the tight end room with Josh Caddis and Willie Rodriguez. They're gonna be awesome this year.
You know what else is continuity though?
Oh,
The offensive coordinator with Bush Hampton.
yep.
First time in half of a decade to keep the same offensive coordinator. And I know many people wanted him fired, so did I, but gotta trust the process and hopefully Hampton will do better than he did in year one. And he also admits that he ran the ball too much with Brock Vandegrift, so at least he's taking accountability for his actions last year.
Yeah, yeah. Bush Hampton being back was super exciting for me because like you can only I mean, you can see it across the country with Garrett Riley at Clemson. His first year, Cade Klubnik wasn't super good, but year two, big leap. Year three, big leap. Like he just keeps growing. The returning offensive coordinator, it just helps so much. Like
Yeah.
it shows how good Liam Cohen was that he could do that good in one year.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think even a bad offensive coordinator, an offense gets better the more he stays. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun to have Bush back this year.
Yeah, but it's also crazy how great Boise State was this past year without Bush Hampton as the offensive coordinator.
They did have
Absolutely insane.
essentially the Heisman winner. So I don't know if that's Bush's. I don't know if that's the freedom from Bush. I think Danielson's just a really good coach, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think that's a lot of Ashton Genty though.
Yeah. You're definitely not wrong about that. But let's talk about Mitch Barnhart. A couple of topics I want to discuss about is he was talking about just college athletics and he was talking about how they put a decade's worth of work in just 6 to 10 months. And that's insane to think about because of the house settlement that happened. So it's interesting to talk about that. And then, of course, he also wants long-term structure as well. Can you hear me at all? Because you're
Yeah, yeah, you cut out just a second, but uh, I could hear you though whenever you're talking about Mitch.
yeah, I couldn't tell because you're like freezing a little bit on my end, so it might be my Wi-Fi. It's not a podcast without Wi-Fi issues.
That is true. Yeah, it's not conversation with Chris and Cameron without a little connection issues.
Yeah, but I'll be interested to see though going forward with the NCAA because Barnhart he's been around forever and I didn't think he would last as long with NIL, but like I said, he's trying to get that long-term structure and then how the NCAA just fit a decade's worth of change in just 6 to 10 months. It's insane to think about.
Yeah, and I think he's handled it incredibly well because, like you said, when NIL first came around, he kind of took an old man stance where he was like, "No, this ain't. That we're not doing this. This
Mhm.
is." But he quickly turned and he's handled it all incredible with all the quick changes. And I mean, these are the biggest changes since like segregation. Honestly, like these are the biggest changes in college sports
Yeah,
in a very long time. Like players getting paid and the transfer portal all happening all right then, and
yeah.
now the house settlement. This is a crazy few years. Mitch Barnhart's killed it. It's huge hat tip to him. Obviously, he gets the crap for the Cal contract, Stoops contract a little bit, but like he has done amazing for what this university has needed through these times.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And the one thing that also stood out to me from Barnhart is he was talking about how they had 675 scholarships last year for all their sports, and then it dropped to 525. So, that's a 150 scholarship drop. And he pointed to one thing in general was the baseball roster. I believe he said like 43 players were on the roster, and then it dipped down to 34. And it's just insane to think about how much scholarships have changed because it went from, like I said last year, from 675 to 525 this past year. Just insane.
Yeah, the drop in scholarships is crazy, but yeah, the baseball one is huge, like you mentioned. Um, but it's the change in times, and I think we're adapting very well to it. So,
Yeah.
um, thanks to the leadership of Mitch, he has handled it all, I think, perfectly.
Yeah, and speaking of that as well, just Mitch Barnhart also said on KSR that he does not believe that UK will have to drop any sports, and that makes sense. I mean, UK is such a big school, so many students go there, but for smaller schools like maybe WKU, maybe they'll have to drop a sport. I know whenever I was at WKU during my 4 years from 2017 to 2021, they didn't have a men's soccer team; they only had a women's soccer team, so. And that was well before NIL became a thing as well. I mean, it became a thing more my senior year of college, granted.
Yeah, the I am glad that we won't have to drop anything because it's like it is the equal opportunity at this point with Title IX. So, I am glad that none of that's going to have to happen because that'd just be extra chaos and extra stress on Mitch's plate, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm glad he doesn't want to admit how much they are spending for all the programs. He said that 6 sports programs will be getting the NIL. I believe it was football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, soccer, and
Volleyball.
volleyball, I believe. Maybe those were the 6, but he said that 6 programs will get in. He also wants the coaches to tell him what they need, and he believes that NIL should be guided, not chaotic during this time. So I'm glad he wants coaches to come in and talk to him, saying, "Hey, we might need more resources this upcoming year with NIL. Can you provide more money for us compared to a different program as well?"
Yeah, yeah. I think all the things that Mitch said there. What was the quote you said? Guided, not uh,
Guided, not chaotic.
yeah, guided, not chaotic. That's what I think. Like that's what Mitch has been in a nutshell. Like throughout this whole thing. Um, So yeah, I think you could tell from the interview that he had with Matt Jones and just the way that he's talked to the media recently. Just he's got it all under control, and there's not many ADs I'd rather have
Yeah.
than Mitch right now.
I miss Dwayne Peavy being the assistant athletic director, though.
Yeah, yeah, I do miss Dwayne Peavy, but
Yeah,
yeah, Mitch has got his hand on things right now.
yeah. And then, of course, Mitch Barnhart, he wants all sports to survive, but the numbers keep tightening. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens in the years to come because it's going to get harder for the smaller schools like I said, WKU, even though they aren't that small, but more schools like I would say maybe Murray State, Moorhead, something like that. Smaller schools will definitely struggle with NIL, and it'll just be interesting to see what will happen with years to come with NIL being a key factor.
Yeah, yeah, it will be really interesting. It's, like you said, especially for the small schools, because Kentucky will be fine, but
Yeah.
like you said, the WKUs, Murray States, EKUs, NKUs, like all
Yeah.
of those, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
And then another thing you gotta worry about is AI. Some people might not go to school because of that now.
Yeah, honestly, AI is crazy.
Yeah, AI is definitely
Absolutely wild.
crazy. But we've been filming for about an hour now. Do you have anything else you want to add, Cameron, or do you want to wrap this podcast up?
I don't think so. I mean, I know you've been putting out a ton of updates on the recruiting end of things for basketball with all the visits and stuff. I don't know if you want to mention any of those or
Yeah,
talk any of that.
we can talk about that. I know Airfan Diane, he's coming on a visit. Let me pull that up. Give me 1 second, but he will be visiting. He's a 4-star center in the class of 2026, and he's a player I really want. He's 7 foot, and you can't teach, height at all. So I really would like him, but he will be visiting Kentucky September 26th through the 27th. Of course, Deron Rippey, he had to reschedule his visit, so I'll be interested to see when he'll be coming to UK as well. Uh,
Speaking of Duran, the staff went all out for his birthday. That was
yeah, for his
awesome.
birthday.
That
That
was
was
amazing.
pretty awesome just for who was it? It was Mark Pope, Malachi Moreno. Uh,
Yeah, I don't remember who all was in it.
yeah. And then there was also another video that was sent from Mikel McLean. He sent his own video, like his own family sent something to him as well. So I found that pretty funny as well.
Yeah, they're making it known they want Rippey for sure.
Yeah, I would love to get Rippy. Like I said, he's probably the number one point guard that I want because, of course, at first we all wanted the Missouri guy, but sadly he committed elsewhere, or he committed
Yeah,
to Missouri.
Jason Crow, shaking
Yeah,
my head.
Jason Crow Jr. I was like, wow, so surprised. But other stuff, Anthony Thompson, he scheduled his official visit to Kentucky in September. So I'm excited about that. What KSR is reporting, he's going to North Carolina first in August, Ohio State in August, Michigan September, Indiana September, Texas September, and then Kentucky gets the last visit the 24th, so it'll be interesting. And I believe he's down to 8 schools now, so UK is definitely in the pack to get him as well.
Yeah, is that the list? That's all of them right now.
And then Diane, he's down to 12 schools. And then, of course, he visited Kentucky. Let me see who the 12 schools were. Uh, well, we can also talk about the other visits coming up. Upcoming, we've got Caleb Holt coming to Kentucky September 12th through the 14th, and this is all through KSR. Cole Clear, September 17th through the 18th, Irfan Diane, September 26th, 27th, Cam Williams, 26th through 28th, Christian Collins, October 3rd through the 5th, Bryson Howard, October 4th through the 6th, Josh Irving, and Jordan Smith Jr. for Big Blue Madness, which is happening October 10th through the 12th, or they're visiting that weekend of Big Blue Madness. And I'm excited for that, basically 2 months away from that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean the list of guys is amazing right now. But yeah, you've been killing it over there, keeping everybody updated on the scheduling of the commitments and the rescheduling for Rippy, and
Yeah.
so yeah, hat tip to you. You've been
Yeah, I
crushing it.
like talking to Deron Rippey's dad. He's a really cool guy, very chill. I've been trying to get his dad onto the podcast, Deron Rippey's dad onto our podcast, but I haven't had luck. And I know he's about to be visited or be busy with his son going to all these different schools with official visits. So it'll be interesting to see what happens so with UK. But like I said, I would love UK to end up getting 4 commits, but I could see them getting more, 2, maybe 3 commits for this year's class of 2026.
Yeah, yeah. The only other thing I guess basketball recruiting is like the longer it goes on with Stokes, the
Uh-huh.
more confusing it feels. Like I
Yeah.
don't feel like I've seen a recruitment like this where there's been guys that were super quiet, like
Uh-huh.
Jaden McDaniels, never said a word, committed in the middle of the night. That one was like weird, but just never
Andrew
talked.
Wiggins.
Yes, yeah. There's guys that like would just never talk, but with Stokes, it's like there will be very like confusing things he says, or
Mhm.
there's like speculated things that people around him said that nobody's ever actually confirmed. Like I don't even know what's going on. Like it feels like we're the leader, but then again, like
Louisville.
he quote tweeted what Kelsey said like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, where Kelsey said, "We're not ducking any smoke."
Yeah.
He says, "I want to go to a school that's not ducking any smoke." Mentions two ACC schools in it, but that also could mean Kentucky because we play like the hardest schedule in the
Yeah.
country every year. Like it literally makes no sense. This dude, his recruitment is wild. Like his
Yeah.
mom will say one thing, like, "Oh, you know where we're from," talking about Louisville, but
Louisville.
then feels like Louisville at times is like out of it. So
Yeah,
I have
and
no
this
idea.
is this is my opinion about Tyran Stokes is I believe that maybe his family wants him to go to Louisville, but then Tyran Stokes he wants to come to UK not because he wants to play here, but because of the Nike money that they could offer him. And who knows, maybe Adidas will just pay up, get him to go to Louisville and just give him whatever he wants. They're like, you want 2.5 million to come to Louisville with Adidas, we'll get you the 2.5 million, however much he's worth. And of course, I don't know how much he's going to get from schools, but he's definitely going to get a lot of money, like at least 1 million for sure, maybe even more, probably 2 million. Like I said, 2.5 million maybe, because he's the number
Yeah.
one overall recruit in the class of 2026. You can't forget about that either.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember if it was David Shaw or Joe Tipton, but somebody put out the other day that Nike is going to play a huge role in his commitment. And then I mean, Arkansas is sitting right there too, like in his recruitment, but like that would take out Kansas and Louisville
Yeah.
right off rip. So I don't really know. It's confusing. Like the longer it goes on, the more like weird it gets. It's
Yeah,
just
for
it's
sure.
crazy.
But his mom said that he would like to commit before basketball season begins for him. So, like I said, probably sometimes before November if I had to guess.
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming their season starts late November for high school ball. So yeah, it's gonna be soon, which is
Yeah.
wild because it doesn't feel like he's anywhere near committing. But
3 months away,
it's
you think can happen.
yeah, still a little bit of time, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
I'm sure Cal's gonna keep doing his magic down there and trying to land him. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll see what happens with Stokes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens for Stokes. And like I said, he won't be, Amari Williams, but he could play like Amari Williams, like bringing the ball up, initiating the offense and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if Stokes does commit to Kentucky, what the selling point was for him. And like I said, I could see Mark Pope selling Tyran Stokes on that Amari Williams role, just initiating the offense, being able to be, uh, handler, being able to handle the ball, but also be able to pass, be a point forward, basically.
Yeah, I did hear T.O. on Field of 68 talking about him one time, and it was right after, it was like a week or two ago. He was talking about just all the guys that he watched play at PG Jam, and he said there's only one dude he knows will be 100% elite college, one and done, straight to the league, and it's Tyran Stokes. He said every other dude he could see a world where they do go one and done, go to the league, they're a great NBA player, or you could see them be a 4-year college guy. But he said Stokes is the one that he puts his stamp on where he's like, no, there's no way he ends up being bad.
Yeah, he's going to be great wherever he goes. And if it's Arkansas, like that's going to be terrible. If it's Louisville, that's going to be terrible. But as long as it's not like Arkansas, Louisville, Tennessee, or Duke, like I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd hate to see him go to Kansas too, but like that, oh well.
Yeah. But all right, let's end the podcast tonight, ending with Tyran Stokes. But I hope y'all enjoyed. This was, of course, episode 10 with conversations with Chris and Cameron. We covered a lot of football, covered a little bit about basketball, but we appreciate y'all with the support with, watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But thank you all for watching. This is Chris Beesmore signing up.
It's Cameron Waddle. Have a safe trip. And as you go, it's Michigan first, right?
Yes,
Going to
well, I'm
Michigan.
going
Yeah.
at first to Dayton to drop off my rental car because that's where my girlfriend lives and then
Okay.
drive to Michigan from there. So,
Yeah. Safe travels. Have a great trip.
oh,
And enjoy it.
thank you, brother. I'll get this podcast uploaded probably sometimes tomorrow while my girlfriend is driving us.
Yeah. Heck yeah. But it was fun as always. Episode 10 in the books.
Episode 10 is in the books. Thank you all for watching and listening.
Yep. See y'all.
See you.